Yeah. Mhm.
It's not working yet.
But I kind of already know what they're on. So I'll bring all this back up.
Kim's making me go
To what?
to Harwich.
Oh, well, yeah, because she's got the fun invites.
Yeah, she's Harwich, and then I think you know Carol Kenneth.
Oh,
She's sort of
what is the event for?
it's a fun.
Oh. Is it for like Hadley? Bloody? Or is it?
No, it's for the
Oh,
government.
it's for the government.
I could send you the invite if you want to spend $250.
No, I really don't. I really don't.
Neither do I. So,
But why? What's wrong? Tomorrow night. I think it's an 8 o'clock. I'm hoping.
Hopefully, that 8:30 adjustment really does not work for me in my schedule.
You see, Porzingis is probably out.
I
so
saw that, yeah.
that might be a ploy though.
It could be. I think they'll sit him for game 3, put him in for 4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even if he
I
could
should be
play,
the coach. Exactly.
yeah, because they
Like it.
Save him, and then you got the home court if they lose.
We started watching that
Right?
Hulu show Clipped about the Clippers.
Oh, I haven't seen
Oh my
that.
god,
Is it good?
it's so good. It's all about like
Oh, yep.
move your body. It is so good. It's all like about the scandals and Don Sterling.
Did you watch the Lakers thing on I don't know what it was, HBO?
No, I don't have.
Oh,
bigger.
I almost got through it, but then it just got a
oh,
little.
I liked it, and then they
Sure.
rushed at the end.
I didn't.
But
have
Adrian
it.
Brody was a great what's his name?
HBO.
Pat Riley.
It was fun because Doc Rivers again and playing himself.
Because you want everybody. I want
Yeah.
everybody. There we go. So cute.
There we
All
go.
right,
Look at us.
Let's see if you can hear us, because the last time
We
it
were
was-
having so many
we had
difficulties.
so much trouble.
Yeah,
And then it didn't record, so I gotta like recreate the meeting.
Because it's recording now.
Yes, indeed, thanks to you.
all right, let's, um,
Are you getting more sleep?
yes,
Good.
yes. This weekend, a little bit more, I'm taking a lot more naps. Just one of my favorite things, but then I wake up and I'm like, what year is it?
I don't know.
I feel like Rip Van Winkle. It's not great.
Could I make a suggestion?
Not to nap.
No. I love a nap,
Oh,
but you know what I do?
I'm not doing yoga,
No.
no matter how
would
much
you-
my old bones.
Oh my God, would you just let me finish?
Joseph?
I drink half a cup of coffee before the nap. The nap lasts exactly 15 minutes. And I
50 or 15?
15 minutes.
15 minutes? No,
And
I can't
wake
micro
up and
nap.
I wake up refreshed and ready to go.
I can't, if I drink,
15 minutes.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm
'Cause
trying to
coffee
really,
brings you back out of it.
I know, but the problem is I've been drinking coffee like, so I'm trying to increase my water intake because then I'm not chugging it like a fish at 9 o'clock at night trying to catch up. I don't know how people are just expected to like adult in the world and like take care of ourselves.
Oh my God, you need a vacation.
I need another vacation. Yeah,
Yes.
I know. I believe me, I'm dreaming of Grand Cayman all the time. All the time, just like picturing myself back on that island and never coming here. I gotta hit the lotto though, so I can hide all my money in their offshore.
Typical. Tell us when you're ready, Karen.
You are all set.
Okay, I'll start off by reading this blurb here. This is to formally advise that as required by Mass General Laws, Chapter 38, Sections 18 to 25, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency and signed into law on June 16, 2021. The Yarmouth Community and Economic Development Committee will hold a public meeting on Tuesday, June 11, 2024 at 5 p.m. at Town Hall Offices, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth. Public is welcome to attend either in person or via the alternative public access provided on the notice of meeting available on the Town of Yarmouth website. Good evening, everyone. First up tonight on the agenda is Mary Wagon, the Grayfield Redevelopment Fund Program.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So my name is Mary Wagon. I work for the town. I'm your affordable housing program / CDBG program specialist. So I work with the Affordable Housing Trust to develop and preserve affordable housing. Our Community Housing Committee to set policy about housing in town, and also Housing Committee also looks at Chapter 40Bs when they come into town. I also manage a very small entitlement from US HUD through the Community Development Block Grant Program, which does have a component of eligibility for economic development. But anyways, tonight I'm here to talk to you about a program that we feel is an affordable housing / economic development program. It's the pre-development fund. It's funded by the Affordable Housing Trust. The intent is to redevelop, inspire redevelopment of blighted or underutilized properties. We call them gray fields. We pop them all together as gray fields. Into brand new construction, like a raise and replace, mixed use, in the spirit of the town's vision for our economic areas, with an affordable housing component. And so, the town has some money for affordable housing development. It can be used for economic development as long as there's always an affordable housing component. So anyways, right now, the way it is set up is it's loans of $40,000 to developers who have the blessing of the owners of the property to cover soft costs for these redevelopments. So, for example, we got a application from Sandola Customs for 91 Route 28, which is the property, if you're looking at the Hampton Inn, it's the property directly to the right of that, butting it on the right. That's where the Cape Cod Vacation Condos used to be. That was raised, that building was raised. It's now an empty lot. It has some landscaping in the front, so you really don't notice it when you're driving by it on Route 28. But once you go down, I think it's Wendwood Way, right away, you're like, ooh, what's going on over there? So it's a vacant property. It's definitely underutilized. And so it'd be like properties like that. So anyways, we have these funds. Sandola Customs, that just didn't work out. And that company had a more solid lead on land in West Dennis, 775 Route 28 in West Dennis. They got $500,000 from the state to buy that land and develop it into housing. So they're off in Dennis doing their thing, but this program remains. So when we were doing our housing production plan and bringing it to different boards and committees, there was a suggestion by members of the planning board to reach out to owners of gray fields to see if they knew about this program and if they wanted to participate. Now, couple of ideas that you could do is we could send everybody a letter like we've done before with our pre-development funds. We had some motel pre-development funds back, I don't know, maybe 2007, 2000. We found that really didn't get us anywhere. We can go into that some other day, but The members of the planning board suggested us, prioritize certain sites and reaching out to those owners. Now, this has all been publicly advertised, it's been properly procured, it's out there, everybody has had an opportunity to look at it. But maybe we could take the next step on some of these properties if we had somebody knocking on their door. So the Affordable Housing Trust is the awarding the awarding body, so they can't do that. Right? The planning board looked to Peter Slovak, which is a member of this committee, to bring it to this committee to see if possibly CEDC would like to take on that role. I'm more than happy to do it myself, but I don't think that we want to involve citizens, we want to involve public bodies. So that's why I'm here tonight, to see if there's some interest in CEDC, helping identify gray fields in town. It's not necessarily Route 28. There's a couple of gray fields on other roads. But to identify these opportunities that the town could start to partner with the owner or a developer that has some type of agreement with the owner, to get the kind of redevelopment that we want in town. Not just any type of redevelopment, but something that fits our vision, which, I've been told point blank. Mixed use, looks
Mhm.
nice,
Mhm.
good site design, so.
Mary also included in the package, if anybody's had a chance to look through, the procurement that was done. And so you can see in there the rating criteria that was included, and I'm sure that the rest delved into at length. But there you can see that, a mixed use project will be rated more highly. There's a bunch of packets right there. So rating criteria are producing affordable housing and prioritizing not 100% affordable housing projects. Mixed use, looking for more of a degree of mixed use than a token office of some kind. The commercial space being located on the first, prioritizing top of the shop. I'm just running through the list. Energy, sustainability, wastewater management, really targeting projects that are in the VCOD, our Village Centers Overlay District. That is where the mixed use kind of vision is. Asking for financial feasibility, design standards, professional experience. But you can see that it's really been well thought out. So what I think that Mary's looking for is help in generating interest. So this has been publicized. It hasn't gotten a great response. I think we could use help beating the bushes to get projects to come forward. And projects that are, by and large, Joe, there's packages right there in the middle of the table, that have capacity to move forward.
Any questions?
No, thank you, Mary, for bringing this to us, and I think it's a really great idea. I hope we can work to find some people who are interested in it.
Yep.
'Cause it's a great offer.
Joe, how many of these properties currently exist in town?
I don't know. I mean, I could, you mean gray fields? Yeah, I have not started a list.
Yeah, but
Does it-
Grayfield is just largely developed, so it could be almost any property on Route 28, which is largely built out.
So it doesn't meet any certain.
Well,
criteria?
it should be underutilized. So for example, we want to stay clear from
Could be a vacant parcel.
vacant, blighted, something that's looking tired.
Yeah.
Something that's, the property owner is just sitting on it for whatever reason. So if you had a new hotel, the trust probably wouldn't fund a raise and replace of a new hotel.
Or a vibrant restaurant that's
Right.
already in place.
Right.
You're not gonna, why fix it if it's not broken?
Right,
Yeah.
right. This is,
And you mentioned raised several times. Is that a prerequisite that it has to be raised?
I think it's in the minimum criteria that it should be bulldozed. And in its place,
So then there are
new,
few properties like that that could be considered. That you would just want
Well,
to throw in the towel and just raise it to the ground.
I think that
and that's,
people looking for redevelopment opportunities. And
Sure.
this is a good opportunity to delve in, it's a early loan. It's a loan that's available early in the process to
Right.
help figure out
0%.
what's
Survey.
feasible.
Yeah,
what they could do.
Does it, year over year, does it accrue if you don't?
No, I think it's you're supposed to be done with your project within 5 years. There's like a timeline. So once you put on the affordable housing restriction on those affordable housing units,
Yeah.
this goes away, this loan goes away. If you, if somebody takes this and then does something else, then they're supposed to pay us back.
It-
Does the town have the authority to forgive that mortgage? Yes, it does. So there might be some situations where, they use this money, but they ended up, doing a business incubator that we've always wanted in town. That they could request to have that $40,000 loan discharged. It's our money and we're flexible. It's not a bank, it's the trust. So,
Where did the 40 come from?
State,
no, it's local funds.
Really?
It's local funds. So the Community Preservation Act was adopted by the town of Yarmouth. It's a 3%, I think it's still
Okay.
3%
Yeah.
surcharge, right? So that goes that gets set aside and you apply to the Community Preservation Committee for those eligible uses, which is open space, recreation, historic, and affordable housing. And so the Affordable Housing Trust every year puts in an application roughly for about $200,000. And the trust is a realty trust, and one of the uses of community preservation money given to a trust is things like this.
The beauty of the trust is the trust can have money, hold money, and spend money without further appropriation. So the trust doesn't have to go to town meeting to further appropriate. And so they develop these really great idea programs and they can spend the money. They get feedback on how the program's going. And sometimes they need to reconfigure. And then they'll go through the procurement again. But I think it's really trying to flush out folks that might be interested in a mixed use development at some point.
Doesn't quite have the funds right yet for an engineer to come and say how many bedrooms you could get. Do you have to replace your wastewater treatment facility? Should you wait for sewering to go by? What would be some conceptual architectural plans, some site design plans to see if it's feasible? And that's something they can go to their financial institutions and say, what do you think? Could we do this? It's just to remove that very first barrier of the soft cost.
And then what was the total budget for this?
I think we wanted to make 3 or 4 loans. Now, everything in this application can be waived by the trust, right? This can also be like, let's say, 25% affordable housing is a little too high for the market right now. If that's what we hear from people, I can bring that back to the trust. They can modify their application. We've done that several times. We've modified RFPs based on, you ask people, why didn't you apply? And they'll, if several people say it's because of this, then the trust can take that out of the application. Because the page 1 is all the minimum requirement. And then and it's a whole page, sorry. Mary Wagon wrote it, it's a whole page. And then there's the selection criteria.
good. Courtney,
no, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Joe? Mary, did you have, go ahead.
Is this posted somewhere on the town's website for me to grab?
It's under the procurement. It might be old.
It might be old.
Well, I was gonna say, Mary, if you can send it, we have our newsletter going
Mhm.
out.
There you go. That'd be great.
Yeah, usually Mary sends me these things, so that's why I was just checking my email and I didn't see it, so. if you
It would be a while
It was like
back.
March 18th, it was
Yep.
This is done in March.
That looks like.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's a good idea. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, Aaron and Mary. I have some ideas, but I don't, we have an awful lot on the agenda tonight.
Yep.
I think if what we could do, Mary, if it's okay with you and Karen, just take it under advisement,
Yep.
talk a little bit about it at one of our next meetings and then get back to you.
Yep.
Is there a time limit that you?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, the trust meets once a month. The next time they meet is
About a month from now.
July,
That's today.
yeah,
Okay.
July 17th or 18th or something, someplace in there. So I'll be, when do you next meet?
We
So I'll
need to
check-
decide.
Would be
I'll ch-
July 9.
So, put me back on the agenda,
Thank you.
right? Because then we can discuss it some more and I can bring your feedback to the trust that next week.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, I think it has some merit, and I think as you heard some of the questions around the table, as well as what our knowledge is of some of the
Mhm.
vacant parcels that,
Right.
there's a list here somewhere in this town hall
Mhm.
that we've talked about in the past. Maybe looking at that and just blowing the dust off it and taking a peek at that and seeing if it marries up with what you were talking about before with
And
the,
they've never given me that list.
no comment, but we can marry it up with some of
Yeah,
the other programs in
yeah.
the town, maybe come up with something too, so.
Great.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank
Thank you
you.
very much. All right, next up is the Marketing and Visitors Service FY 25 proposal. Chamber of Commerce.
It's okay, Mom. Thanks.
How you been?
Good.
You all right?
It's slow. I just had a meeting up.
Job search?
So what?
All right.
Still figuring out. Trying to get over get the need on.
Yeah.
Jen bringing gifts.
Of course.
Not yet.
Pictures of the mermaid show.
Karen.
We were hoping Danielle was here
Thanks.
for her little one.
I know.
Oh, I will give her,
Take her, take,
I will give her mine.
thank you. You know, a beach ball. Thank you.
Do you want a beach ball?
Yes.
Okay.
How many kids you got?
Hold on.
Hold on, you might get lucky.
Oh my God.
All right.
That way they can't.
Welcome.
Now you can go home. Be nice.
Okay, so we're talking about, let's get a little bit of a refresher on Chamber's contract. I know we were going with, some points we had 9 months, and then we had 18 months, and we had 12 months, so it's kind of a,
So when the project was bid, it was bid out for 3 years.
yes,
Which is the maximum term of any contract that the town enters into. So we've had different fits and starts with the previous contracts. The contract that we're talking about will be a 12-month contract that will run along with the fiscal year, which was our goal, and we finally got there.
right.
So this will start July 1 and end on June 30th. So at some point between that time, we'll need to rebid an we'll have to do another RFP.
Yeah.
To
Because we're at,
the out years, because this is year 3.
this is the 30th.
Yep.
Okay, all right,
So if it was 36 months, we're coming up
Okay.
against 36 months.
all right, okay. So that's on us that we gotta get that going
Mhm.
sooner than later. Okay, all right.
That said, is that this all revolves back to that specs that were in that RFP
That's
a couple
right.
of years ago, right? So there's
That's
not,
right.
big modifications
No.
can't be, this is all tweaks.
Exactly. It's all consistent
And-
with the content of the RFP, what was bid.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So-
where, it gets a little confusing sometimes.
It does.
But we kind of keep looking at like every year, I don't know, it's always kind of confused me a little bit.
It can be confusing. I can understand that. So I asked Mary and Jen to put together an outline of a proposal. So that's what's in your packet. There's a narrative. I can pull up the budget on the screen if you want. The categories of spending are marketing, and it's broken into online and traditional type things. visitor services. And visitor services includes training. This time there's a new idea request for funds to cover the cost of language lessons to teach staff Spanish. Some of the public enhancement, the Garden Gateway signs are a traditional expenditure. It covers the decorations that go up around the signs. The banners moved in last go around on the second contract, which has been a huge help. And sometimes visitor center improvements. The chamber's always making improvement center to make it easier. There's a new line this year for communications on the wastewater project. And then tally up on event coordination. I want to describe the event coordination changes. If I can, so up on the screen. No, that's not the right one, sorry. Rewind. This one. So this is just I gave you this in your packet too, I think,
Mhm.
or I sent it yesterday.
You did.
So we have the 23 budget, the FY 24 budget, so that was a 9-month budget, just for comparison. Gave you a little bit of flavoring for April, May, and June. Jen tries to include in our tracking spreadsheet just a highlight so that we're aware of when certain expenditures are gonna take place. A lot of the, there's some monthly, some things are kind of loaded for a certain time of year where a marketing thing might be most appropriate. And then there are also there's the visitor center stuff, then there's the events. And so this year, just so everybody knows, there were a couple of events that didn't happen.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys want to talk about that, the Taste of Yarmouth
Mhm.
and the Art and Wine Festival. Chamber rallied together with the Recreation Department and
Libraries.
the libraries, that's the other, to put together a new event called Mermaid Day. Wing Fling, I think, I just left these on because it had the 23
Mhm.
budgets on there, so Wing Fling and Cleanup Day were 23 expenditures. They didn't happen. Little bit different this year. Some of the events, so just going forward, you can see that we're rolling forward, or we're gonna end up the year with a little bit of a surplus in the contract. Not all the spending has taken place, so that will go back into the marketing line. For the FY 25 proposed, the chamber has requested just kind of almost a lump sum of funds for events. I think the Mermaid Fest, the Winter Carnival, and the Stroll will all be going on. But based on the outcome of this event consultant, which is a 24 expenditure, the events are kind of TBD,
Yes.
to be determined. What are we gonna do? So the subtotal on events there is $79,000. If we look at it, it sounds like a lot of money at first glance, but it's really just the difference between what was spent in 24 and what would have been spent in 24. So it's really just kind of rolling it forward. Things that won't happen going forward, not that much. It's fairly consistent. It's a little change to a website cost. The jingle is a one-time expenditure. Can't wait to hear it. And let's see, the J1 program is being revised. So I think this year we bought some
Items for their backpacks.
items for backpacks. It was like health kind of stuff,
Mhm.
toiletries and that kind of thing. That was a different idea. The seasonal banners, it looks like there's a decrease. I think we were catching up on inventory, trying to replace some of the banners that needed replacing. And then the Taste of Yarmouth, like I mentioned, and the Art and Wine Festival won't happen in 25. We're looking ahead to new events.
Yes.
And then there's the communications line. And the flat fee is basically the same.
Mhm.
It's actually less when you put it out on a per month basis because we're looking at a 9-month contract versus a 12-month
12.
contract. So did I miss anything?
No, you did.
No,
pretty
you did a
good.
great job.
I just wanted to, if I can, introduce Carrie Moore. She's was a past board member of the chamber, but also is the chair of our events committee. So we'd like you to see, you know, and introduce some of the volunteers that help us implement this contract. So thanks for coming, Carrie.
You betcha. Thanks for having me.
Committee members, any questions from the chamber?
I am a little interested into why the Taste of Yarmouth and Martin Wine Festival didn't happen.
Yeah, so we didn't do the Taste of Yarmouth because once we kind of figured out from the restaurants that because of the cost of food has gone up so much and they're so limited with their staff, that it was hard for us to be able to do the event. Because in the past, we used to provide, like, people would pay a ticket price of like $60. They would get the trolley. They would go around to all the different restaurants and get to sample food for free, essentially. So those were a couple of snafus we ran into, and then we did reach out to, we were trying to find a venue that could hold enough people too, which is kind of limiting in the area. And one venue that we did reach out to had kind of said that it was very similar to like in another event that they were doing. So we decided not to hold that. And then the Art and Wine Festival, we were trying to find a location for it. We felt like we needed more planning and we needed more money for it. And we were trying to find somewhere that was good, that was outside, but was also kind of limited with where we could hold it. So then we kind of pulled our resources together and decided to go forward with doing this Mermaid Day that we're doing at the end of June instead.
Thanks.
Do you think I mean, I know it depends on the event report outcome, but do you think something like the Art and Wine Festival is a possibility?
I think it could be a possibility, and there's been some other things that I know that we've kind of discussed internally that, you know, we would like to do, but we need more money to be able to do them. So,
$20,000 to implement a really solid event is not a lot of money anymore. The cost of
everything.
everything has just gone up, and I'm sure he's learned that as well. And even working with the event consultant, I can just say that we were in conversation with them about bringing one of the first events ever to Cape Cod here. And it was going to be $60,000. And then we knew we were going to have to pay police and fire on top of it. And it just became impossible to even plan. So when we looked at the amount of money that we had allocated for the Art and Wine Festival, we weren't anywhere near the amount of money that we were going to need to implement the event. So we thought it would be best to come to you and say, can we put it into this, you know, TBD line once we have the report from the event consultant, and then really put on, even if it's one additional solid event for Yarmouth that will be beneficial, instead of two smaller events that maybe won't
Yeah.
benefit the community as much. So we're really intrigued on what the event consultant is going to provide to us. We will be meeting with them the last week of June, and then the final report will be provided to us on June 30th.
Okay,
And then we'll share that obviously with the CEDC and the town staff. We're very interested, you know, they did the site visit, they've done many, many interviews in town. So I think it will be beneficial for us once we hear back from them.
Mary, is the event consultant taking into consideration other events that we already support?
yes,
Yes.
Okay.
They have actually interviewed current event organizers, past event organizers, town staff, town administration. So I think they've done a thorough job. I think they talked to you, Steve.
I
correct?
did.
Yes.
Yep.
Great.
I know we're gonna be talking about Packet Landing soon, but did you ever consider Packet Landing? I know what you're gonna say about parking and whatnot, but I think there's some options available as far as parking goes off-site that might work out too. So, and the fact that we might be able to use transportation provided by the RTA to getting people to and fro. So just an idea when you're thinking about putting a project together. I think that's a good one. I think it's done right, maybe done in concert with, the cultural commission. I mean, it could be a real,
Yeah, I mean, I think right now the town's benefit is, the one location you have that's an asset for a larger event is. I mean, the Pirate Festival showed that. the
Yeah.
last 2 weekends.
yeah,
But there's also challenges with it. If you do a 1 or 2 day event, you've got housing there, and then if you want to bring in alcohol, right? There's a lot you can't, it's a lot, you have to think about gating it off and
right.
so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see a pirate over here someplace?
Someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
So the report's gonna be due the end of this month. That's good.
Mhm.
Any preliminary feedback?
that's
Oh,
what
they
we're
just, yeah. Everyone's
meeting with
eager to
them.
see.
Too.
All right. And is everything okay with the budget as it looks for FY 25?
I mean, we're feeling confident that we've presented is.
Good?
fine.
What it
Yeah,
doesn't
the only,
include
yeah, that's what I
is
was
the
just.
sand sculpture.
Yeah, no.
So-
And that whole thing.
Well,
It's
sand
out.
sculptures historically,
Physical improvement or something.
we've funded it kind of, and I know Mary did a little analysis. I have it in the history of spending. It's come historically from different spots. We run in sometimes to procurement questions, which come up. So I had hoped that we'd have enough money. I don't think we do have enough money in the marketing line to cover the sand sculptures this year were $40,000. And I just don't think we have it, even if you were to reappropriate the $17,000 that doesn't get spent this current year. So,
But with all the money we have in economic development, all the money that we have in physical improvement,
no, I had hoped to
no.
include it in the marketing contract to avoid
Yeah.
questions
to
around
carve it out.
procurement. And just spending money on different projects.
okay, so it's not in,
Addressing it separately.
yeah, okay.
It's not included in the
So-
contract.
We're at this point because someone raised an issue about that, including it into the chamber's contract in
be-
prior years? Because I see it in this thing that was just handed out. It was done in 21 and
18.
No, that's a type.
22.
2020 and 20.
But
how did we do it?
but this doesn't have the buckets. I'd have to look back in the spending records.
Sorry.
To see which
Right, at one-
accounts it came out of.
It was special events at one point, so it's
Right.
been all over the place. I
It's been
mean,
all over the
now
place.
it's just, I mean, I think you're saying, because this was one of the things that was on my list is that what's to prevent anybody else from walking in here and saying that they want to do something similar to it, because we don't have an RFP for it. It's not included anywhere. And then we've taken a lot of it from unallocated. Well, we don't have unallocated anymore
That's right.
now. You know, and infrastructure, that money is that, it's a,
It's Physical
it's-
improvement.
it's physical improvement.
Semi-permanent.
yeah, is it, does it meet that definition? I mean, I think it's. Anyone can argue it, but I don't know who the final say would be, but. This has long been one of those ones that needs to find a home. Wherever it is. And I think that as well as, and all these special events are great, but we do have a special event. Separate
It's almost.
grant that we have for even all these specific special events that the chamber's doing. I think originally, way back when, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the special event coordination was coordination, not putting on special events. And I think it's morphed into the chamber now putting on a bunch of special events, which really should be under special event. We've had that special event. I think back when this originally was, back in the Bob Dubois days, when this was originally looked at, it was to coordinate all these different entities that wanted to come to town and do special events, coordinate marketing, coordinate bigger lump of it and less on the actual conducting special events. Conducting special events, the chamber used to come in and apply for those special event grants opposed to it being.
Like the summer
into marketing.
celebration, it happened.
So.
But what I think is that the RFP that went out 3 years ago covered event and it said I think the language in it is for looking for a signature event. And not like the sand sculptures or the
Winter carnival.
winter carnival or whatever. I'm happy to table it, look at the budgets and think about it. I think it might be something too, we could split across fiscal years. Because the spending, so you've put in a portion of, so for this year. We just might be able to cross fiscal years with it because it usually starts in May.
Yeah,
Right?
they come into town in
And
May,
then ends in July. I mean, or June.
late June.
I saw a
24,
pile of sand at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Me too,
I
yeah.
was thinking,
FY 24 and 25.
that's what I'm wondering.
But you just said
just
something that
thinking that out
intrigued
loud.
me too, is, in the RFP, it did include special events, yes?
It did,
Yeah.
it did. So I think that Joe's point is correct, that it's morphed over time. My point is that it's perfectly appropriate right now for the chamber to be doing events because we had it in the RFP.
Okay.
Well, and if I can say, I mean, I've been with the chamber for 9 years. I never remember where it didn't have events in it.
So it's been like that for a while, but I think Joe's point, I'm thinking of the summer celebration kickoff was a
10 years
chamber
ago.
thing, and the chamber put in through the special event grants for that project.
Yeah, they did that
Another
cowboy
great-
festival thing. I don't know, what was it, a cowboy thing that they did once, the chamber did years ago?
But again, that,
Right,
but that's.
again, right, and,
I think we're fine.
right,
Yeah,
I think,
for now.
right, it is, and I think this is, I'm just saying that we're
Right.
kind of going in two different directions, so for the next contract, I'm just putting on the table for
Next
discussion
RFP.
now. Is the next RFP, is it seems like we're just going to the chamber conducting their events and then. Then the committee here doing, I don't know, a whole another special events, and it's, do we want to be going in two different directions?
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying.
Because then we've got a third category, which is sand sculpture.
Right, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have that, which what is used like
We have
January.
Lots of square
Yeah.
pegs and round holes.
Right. But
Lots and
over the
lots.
past few years, there's been sort of a, forces outside of this committee and forces within that have been looking for ways to clean things up.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, Joe, that we should find a way to give it a home once and for all.
Right, and sand sculptures, I mean, I've always kind of looked at it as more of a market, like, again, this is just me, that's more of
It
a
is.
marketing thing, you're getting people to go to these places.
Right.
And less kind of, it's less event and more marketing,
Right.
like, I don't want to say gimmick, but like a marketing, like, hey, come out, check out all the sand sculptures, and all that. So. And everybody may look at that completely
It's a draw.
differently here, so I kind of,
Total draw.
right, so it really it depends on how you look at it, so I mean, to me, putting the sand sculptures more into maybe moving some of these. And again, I understand the sense, I'm moving some of these events maybe into the special event,
Mhm.
Apply as part of the special event and move sand sculptures into that signature event / marketing. Because it is a big deal for Yarmouth, and I like that we do it, but somebody else is doing it, but I think just maybe a shift may make a little more sense going forward, because it is, the sand sculptures does kind of hang out there on its own, and if somebody else were to come right now and say, hey, I want to do something similar to it, we don't, it's not part of the RFP, it's big, kind of surprised it hasn't. But, procurement wise, but somebody raised their hand already, so that was all, that's, I understand things need to change over time, but I'm just putting it on the table for a discussion point.
Well, and I think to your point, Joe, that's why we did this spreadsheet, just to show that there hasn't been consistency on the part of how it's been funded. And how it actually impacts our budget when it does go in here.
Right.
That we have to let go of something else if we put the sand sculpture in here with the budget that we're provided right now. And it literally draws thousands of people.
Yeah, it is.
Down, if you just come and sit in the visitor
Chamber.
center right now.
It's neat, yeah.
People looking for the map and we're like, we don't even have it printed yet. They're not even done building them.
I think that Joe's point is well taken, and I think that it's something that you talk about when you're, and it'll be here in like 3 months, when we're getting ready for FY 26.
Right.
And you're thinking about how are you reallocating your buckets
Right.
of funding, and
Right.
maybe you want to put more into marketing so that we can cover this cost.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to take from somewhere else, so.
Right, and we gotta, make sure it's in the RFP.
Mhm. Yep.
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
if I may. Where does where have the conversations led you, or where have, I don't know how to say it. Have you had conversations about this wastewater communications
Yes,
function with the town already? Are they expressing that because I know that they just hired a person pretty expressly for this purpose, so How are you planning on dovetailing, and is there overlap or redundancies, or how's it gonna manifest?
So.
Can I just add to that before she answers? I got an earful from the owner of the
Green spot.
Green Thumb.
Green spot.
Green Spot, yeah. So it's close. Who was absolutely surprised that work was going to happen when he was told work was going to stop at Memorial Day. Surprised that the work was going to be extended through the middle of this month, maybe the end of this month. And he said, I'm already down business because of the work that's going on. I think the number he threw out was 15%, 20%. He said, but next week, they're gonna be right out in front of my business, and I'm gonna lose even more. So
I know-
communication was hired to do something. I don't know what's happening, why it's not working, but maybe you can shed some light on it.
I know, but he's a business owner on 28, and he doesn't see that. He's not,
He was told the work was going to stop Memorial Day weekend, didn't stop. And it was not going to interfere at all with his business until the succeeding part of the work was to be done next year. So he got hit twice. He got.
I'd love to know who he was told by and how that came as a message, and if it's just him seeing and hearing things, or if he got a direct to butters notice, or if he got direct communication, because this is happening all over, and I'm watching it happen in Orleans, and the towns and the chambers are out there communicating with the businesses. They know when they're gonna be open. There's signs and promotions saying business is open during construction, and they're pushing that. So the message gets out there to people that don't think businesses are closed, like, please go. Like, I know it can be difficult to get there, but I think people are getting mad that we're having this wastewater construction. And it's happening. I see it all the time on Facebook. I just sit in traffic for 2 hours today. Take another road,
Mhm.
go around the back roads. There's more than one way to get to Hyannis except Route 28. And I'm just, the town, they've hired this person. The messages are out there. The signs are up. I just like, people are choosing to get mad about this when it's something we need to just deal with and live through. And they need to also just you have to do your own part too, as a business owner and as a resident, to learn
Right.
where it's gonna happen, how it's gonna affect you. It's coming down my road every day. And I'm aware of it. We pay attention to it. We leave a different way. I know I can't go down to get to town hall. I can't just pop over to 28 now. I have to go down a wood road and across. Like it's a two-way thing, and people need to just pay attention to it also. But like, there's a promotion that needs to be done from the town and to the direct businesses. And I guess my question is, do you talk to all the businesses or only ones that are members?
It's all the businesses.
I would love to know where that one person, like, nobody else is complaining right now about their businesses being decreased except for that one person. I'd love to hear who he was told by and what communication he got that said it was gonna be by Memorial Day, because it's not the message you get throughout the town.
So that is, if I can just say, as the president of the Chamber of Commerce, that is not the case. I get texts, phone calls, people stopping in all the time. And we understand, and what we're trying to do, we have a great relationship with the communications director, with the water department, with DPW. And the conversation that we have right now is that the chamber can be an asset to the town. We can help you. We can help enhance the message, because we have relationships, one-on-one relationships with these business owners. And we have to just say that Jen, recently, we had a great conversation with Lori from the water department, and just a perfect example, we sent out an email to our members. And what did it have, a 43% open rate?
Yeah, it was 45.
To your members though. That's
I
not
understand.
all
Hold on, so
businesses.
part of this is to get all of the businesses to work with the chamber. We did it during COVID, and we're willing to do it anytime that we can be bettering the community. So we just want to be able to work with the town. We're doing a great job right now. A post that just went out a few hours ago was tagged to our Facebook page. We're in constant communication, but we just feel we can contribute something
Yeah.
that can enhance it for the business community. That's the business we're in. So we're just saying that we can enhance it. I've met with the town of Orleans. If you look at their website, there's definitely some things that we can do differently that will be beneficial to not only the businesses, but the residents. So we're proposing that we can work on that with the town. And then the other thing that we're working on is trying to do a positive campaign. To your point, yeah, you're frustrated, but this is a positive thing for
Yeah.
the town of Yarmouth. So let's make it positive and come up with some, there's other communities across the country that have done really fun, positive campaigns about this. Orleans had a simple sign. I don't know if we put it in the narrative. But what was it? Sorry for our appearance, but we're improving the environment.
Yeah.
Right? Like just simple things like that kind of can change your mood. Like, okay, I'm stuck in traffic right now, or I have to do a detour, but the end all is for the betterment of my community. So we're hoping we can help with that.
Yeah, that's a great message and that's what it needs to be. And This
Exactly.
is not news. This is not, we've been voting on it at a town meeting for years and years. The town's been talking about it. As a business owner, you need to be engaged in your community and realize what's happening. Like,
If I can say, I sit in the construction meetings and that determination to go beyond 28 after Memorial Day was not done until Mass DOT approved it after Memorial Day.
okay, but still,
So
then
I'm
that's
just
something that
saying-
should have gone out like that to the businesses.
It
It should have gone out like that.
I understand that, but it didn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So
Well, then
that's
I'm
where
not,
we're
I'm not trying to
hoping-
blame anybody here. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, people, like, there's better parts that can be done behind the chamber and the town and the businesses as business people. As a town person who lives here, I do my research, I get the town notifications. Like, people need to be proactive instead of just sitting on their butts and getting angry that we're having construction for wastewater that needs to be done to better improve the town as a whole. You're mad about it now, but you're not gonna be mad about it in 5 years when you're through phase one and you can get through what you need to get through and have the infrastructure you need for your business. So that's just my point.
That's kind of where my question is at. Is trying to figure out, are you planning on running a parallel campaign or is it be, as you just described, is gonna be an amplifier?
Exactly.
Just trying to be clear about it. It's definitely going to be an emotional time. Once it's done, it's done. So let's,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure there's communication, adequate communication between the DPW, you and the businesses, or whoever's making the decision on working with the contractors, making sure that's happening. So
I have the PM's cell phone number for Robert Hour. I don't have it for.
that's another
I
whole
don't
story.
know too.
I heard in the.
But I have, yeah, I mean, I am direct communication all the time. When I was in South Carolina on vacation, I'm sitting on the beach talking to the water department. I was talking, you know what I mean? So like, we're all communicating, we're all working together. This is not meant for anything negative. It's just
Yep.
how can we help in any way?
and
possible?
once the commercial phase of this project is done, the need for the chamber to be talking to businesses probably falls away. Because we're gonna be into the neighborhoods at that point.
But you wouldn't believe how many residents follow what the chamber does. They get our newsletter. They come into
We
the
have
meeting.
robust communications.
Part of the
going.
community,
That-
just the businesses. So.
I
Good.
think, you know, and
Good job.
And I don't know if this is quite the pro venue for this, but I think that a lot of this is, at least for me, and this could be my own ignorance, is I didn't understand that there were gonna be such widespread road closures.
Mhm.
I was more expecting traffic flowing in a direction, so business would still have exposure. And they're closing these huge sections of road where they're actually only working at one intersection. And for the average person, you can't, at least I can't, I have both social media and other contexts, is that you can't find out that we're working in front of Bass River Car Wash. That's the only thing that's affected for say that you can't get into. You can get into everything on either side of that, or we're working in front of Dunkin' Donuts. Which one might be controversial, but because there's 100 of them, but we're working in front of Dunkin' Donuts. You can get into everything up to on this side and you can get into everything up on that side. That information is not out there anywhere that I've seen. We just have this, it's closed from Town Hall all the way to Pancake Man. It's, I'm sorry, it's blocked, that whole section's blocked. And people just get up to the detour and they don't understand that you can go to vast majority of those businesses. There's only one little section that the road's actually dug up on. I think that's where.
Yeah, it needs to be better communicated, but like I said, Orleans is doing a really good job with this. They've been doing a really good job of this for the past year, and it's talked about at select board meetings, it's talked about at finance committee meetings, it's talked about at every board and committee meeting, it's on the website, you go to their website, it's the first thing that pops up, you go around town, the signs are up. Like, it's not like we need to reinvent the wheel, just as a whole, the community and the town included needs to do better at informing people.
Yep,
I
Agree.
agree.
we all agree.
And or if there's a way to keep flow, like, I don't know how, I know the pipe's going down the middle of the road in some places, but in other places it's going down one side of the road. Is there a reason why we can't,
Yeah,
there's plenty of detail offices I've seen out there. Is there a reason why we can't get traffic moving in even just one direction, because at least now it's creating flow for those businesses, especially along 28. To me, it's just, I never, imagine even South Shore Drive is huge sections of it just closed and nobody understands that, hey, you can actually get to some of these businesses, but the information's not flowing and everything's just closed. That was
There's 3 days left.
Right, right. I mean, this section of the work, the damage is done. I mean, we can work
So
as good as we can, but
if I can't,
succeeding sections, we can.
so the discussion that we've had, so, even yesterday, was that, we'll get through the 14th,
Yeah.
right? That's when we're off 28. And then we're going to meet with the town staff and see how we can improve, right? This was a great learning curve. It was
Yeah.
unfortunate for
Yeah,
some.
it's a big project.
But
Wow.
we look at this as a learning curve. Okay, how do we improve from this? Jeff Colby and I both agreed to talk to Orleans. I already did. I'm not sure if he has, but I learned a lot by talking to their town administration and then to their chamber. They sent me pictures of examples of what we've done. So, and if I can just say, Jen reminded me today, this is not the first time that we've had a line item in our contract that says communications. The title of this contract is Marketing, Communications and Events. So,
Yeah, okay.
we used to have
Understood.
$5,000 in this line item, and I think for the size of this project, to have $8,000 for a year is more than reasonable. So, we look forward to working with you as well as the town staff and making this happen.
All right, as far as from the business, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything.
As far as from the business side of things, you got the message, maybe carrying it back to Bill Scott and or the town administrator,
The world.
the world. And, not for nothing, but prior experience where I came from, some of this work was done at night. I don't know, I know, so, and probably a premium for doing the work at night, but it may be a little bit easier in some of the businesses, so it's a,
Can we get a vote to allocate $228,000 out of the marketing line for a contract?
So moved.
Second.
any
Aye.
discussion? All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed, so voted. Good, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
ladies.
I forgot.
We'll see you soon.
So do we
Have a
come
good day.
back about the sand sculpture trail, apply for a special event? fund?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to handle that sand sculpture. Oh, she's gonna take care of it.
I'm gonna think on it.
2 years, yeah.
Think about how we figure it out.
It looks like it's gonna be over 2 years, FY 24.
You're covered for this year, fine,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
$10,000 left or maybe less than that.
Less. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, thank
for
you.
Beach Balls.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Do you want me to stay or?
Come on up. We're gonna take, yeah, you want to stick around? Sure.
Scary.
We're gonna do the quad stock. What's quad stock? Come on up and sit down. We let, we authorized some money for you,
Yes.
your fellow colleagues to put on an event for us. We were hoping for this fall,
Yes,
but understand that you've gone, Karen's done a lot of work reaching out to you
absolutely.
and you've run into some difficulties, so. Hope everything is working out as far as getting answers from us on this side of the table, the town and staff. But it looks like it's more issues with.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Again, thank you for having me. Karen's been great with the communication, open line, and we've just faced a number of different challenges clearly with our restaurant opening. We just actually opened this past Thursday. So that was good. What the car ran into, after the car ran into adjacent building.
Oh, geez.
So the power is still out there.
That's why my power
Side of
went
the
out.
Building.
No, Main Street in Hyannis.
Main Street.
It came out here and was there a fire in there too?
That was at the
Oh, no.
substation on Mary Dunn Road.
Okay.
So there's been a number of things,
All knowing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm home in the dark, all alone.
yeah, but I guess the request is, just with everything that the challenges that we have encountered, asking for a deferral of the funds. As the group before, what they were speaking about, the funding, and there was the project I think I missed coming in this Grayfield program.
Yeah.
Project, that 40K is used specifically for just pre-work,
Right,
right?
design, architectural design, engineering, those types, soft costs, yeah.
Festival of this magnitude and planning, same exact thing. And that's where we're at. And we know that in order to put on the show that we want to put on, we gotta have a lot of skin in the game, a
Yeah.
lot more than that.
Yeah.
And so we want to feel very comfortable with how we invest our.
Okay, so you're not there yet, a lot of more work because you had a business opening up.
Absolutely.
A lot of time and energy
New
devoted to
baby.
that.
New baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
There's a lot,
understood.
there's a lot going on.
So you're,
Steve.
Yeah.
it's- so, and so your desire is to keep at it,
Yes,
keep working with Karen and folks from the town here to see if it can happen next year.
yeah,
And I think I can speak for the committee here that I think we're all 110% behind you. We want to see it happen too.
excellent,
So.
excellent.
And I don't think there's any problem with us holding the money for a year to get this thing underway. Okay,
No,
now, go ahead.
can I, but as far as the way our contracts go, isn't it just, wouldn't the money just roll over and you'd have to reapply for next year? I mean,
I don't know that you have to do that. I might need to look at the,
yeah, how is the proposal written? Because I think it has to
no,
be
you're right.
completed in
'Cause
that
the
time
proposal
frame.
is for calendar 24 is what the proposal request was.
Yeah.
So, but you,
I mean, money would roll back into that account for next year, so we could potentially allocate more than what we were,
right.
more than what we
Well,
wanted.
I think
to.
that you
do it.
definitely, so if I pull up the other budget,
But I think it's gonna still reset though, right? Because of the way the RFP or RFQ, whatever the,
oh, that's what I want. Yeah, well, this is your general budget. And so here's the FY 24 adjusted budget. So this was once we did all the transfers for the events going in. And then this is the actual expense. So what we're hearing is Sam and Codstock won't be able to kind of spend it this year. It's not wise. So you'll end up going into FY 25 with this $40,000 balance. I think Joe might be right that maybe you should have him reapply, but I
Right,
think we
right,
know
right.
an awful
Right,
lot
right,
and
right. Yeah, if he
you
has to reapply,
go forward
Karen will got
accordingly.
the details.
It'll be okay,
Yeah.
and I think it may make sense too, because the conditions you originally asked for, because when you guys came in first,
Mhm.
it was really early.
Yes.
And you had a pretty rough budget
Yes,
because for such a big event.
absolutely.
And I think the committee had asked for updates and all that kind of stuff and.
We're pressing, it's, an event like this is gonna depend on sponsorships. Heavy sponsorships and local sponsorships are great and you really want to promote the local businesses. But you need a financial backer.
Mhm.
And that's what it boils down to.
Gotcha.
And again, they want you to have skin in the game.
Yeah.
And with the town having skin in the game through the committee, like everyone has a part, everyone has a vested interest in the success of the event. And yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's how we get it done.
All right, let's keep it going. All right, if he has to reapply, we'll let you know let him know during.
Yeah,
process.
absolutely. And I think that we'll have to take this into consideration as we move forward
Yeah.
with the
Mhm.
special event
Because
program
it's-
for next year.
right, because the money will still stay in the special event.
That's
bucket.
right.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go anywhere.
It's just next year, maybe instead of 150, we say we're gonna allocate 180, whatever,
You'll take it all into account when you're looking at the big budget.
right. It'd still be available,
Mhm,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just to make sure we're,
It's not leaving, so, it's not leaving that $40,000 won't leave that special event account. It'll roll into the next year. And then whatever additional funds you appropriate in will be on top of the $40,000. You can see there's a whopping $421 balance in there.
Mhm.
But if other events by chance don't spend the funds, the full amounts,
there could be even more.
you could end up with a little bit of extra money in that account.
Would the committee consider, just again, with everyone with skin in the game, a match?
Mean our money used as a match?
Yes.
Yeah, you take our,
like to increase the funding from the committee. If we can give you this timeline, give you these acts, have all these sponsorships and like,
I'm not sure what you're saying, but if you're saying,
I think.
if you could
Up to a
have,
certain
if
amount.
you would, so would you be potentially asking for more than $40,000?
Yes.
That's.
That's an application. So-
Right, and he's
Yeah,
gotta do
no,
an
we're gonna do an
application
application.
anyways, but if he's got a
Present it
better
that way.
project and
Mhm.
more complete budget and plan.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do that, then we really, as a heads up, really would like to see a timeline,
Yes,
you know, with some specific dates in an event. An activity that's gonna happen during that event, okay? So you know that better than I, but that'll help us
part
make
of
a
our problem
recommendation.
was the timeline, like you need a year, a little bit
Yeah,
beyond a year.
yeah,
with These events
understood.
and these acts,
Right,
and they're willing. But again, that's upfront finances to lock in that date, and these are deposits and all the pre-work.
and as part of that timeline, I'd really like to see, and I'm sure the members would like to see too. What is necessary from the town as far as a permit or some other approvals that are required and when those will be achieved as well. So for example, you know, how many wastewater facilities are you going to need on site and when will that be done? What do you need for transportation? Do you need off-site parking and how are you going to get the transportation? When will that be done? Those type of things.
Okay, yeah, those are things, again, that pre-legwork that we've done. And was just putting everything, compiling the information to present to you. We had to focus on our revenue generating entity because we know we have to have skin in the game.
Yep,
And that's
yep.
where we-
Good.
yeah,
All right.
I think too, based on the conversation that Sam and I had, that
Mhm.
it's safe to say you've done a bunch of work.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you
Yeah.
haven't paid any
have
attention to
We
this.
committed, like I'm regretful that I have to be sitting here.
Right.
Yeah, we committed to it and we didn't want to, but we want a successful
Yep.
event.
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
Will you have kind of additional planning information and a more detailed budget by the fall?
Yeah, it's necessary. We can have that. We'll have that to you. Because the plan is that October, those dates. So we do a year. So we'll have it to you by October.
Yep.
That's
Detail.
That's
Because we have to have those acts booked by then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's it.
And you're still looking to do it in October, so October of next
Yes.
year?
Yes.
And that reminded me too, I thought someone said, maybe you said, Joe, that they might need a special approval because it's an event at a public place.
Well, it's the general, we have a. And we,
Yeah,
we
So
talked about it,
keep
so
that,
Sam,
keep-
Yeah, they
Yeah,
gotta
and
go
he'll
through the
need-
Site plan review.
yeah, I thought it a long time.
he needs license. The Board of Selectors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, work with me. I mean, a lot of those hotels too down along that way. I think after Columbus Day start closing their doors, so it might be worth even,
Yes.
you know, it's gonna be that next
That's been,
weekend.
that's been the communication
Right.
again. Those people are involved and we, because we know we need them. That's what makes the event like a larger event and a successful event where people have lodging close by and that's gonna cut down with the transportation
Yeah.
challenges.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And if I could just say anything the chamber can do to help,
Excellent.
contacts or anything like that, would be more than happy.
Great. Thank you.
If I can just say that's a perfect example of what we're saying, the funding that's needed to really put off a quality event.
It's big.
It's not $10,000 anmore.
No, and hopefully this is seed money, so it's, you know, this is only
Exactly.
for a
Yeah.
couple of years and then it's
There you
gonna
go.
take off and it's gonna run on its own.
It's a self-sustaining
Right.
event. That's what we're looking for.
We choose
I
it.
think that's what we're looking
Yeah.
for too.
All right, Sam, good. You okay?
Yeah.
You got
No,
what you need
that's
from
it.
us? Yeah.
Thank you,
guys.
Sam.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Good luck.
But just
Don't
keep,
forget-
Thank you.
Baby.
Thank you.
What is the baby, a boy or a girl? What's the name?
Baby boy Zane.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Zane Eldridge.
oh,
Yeah, it's
very
great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good night.
Sam.
Take care.
just briefly on the facade improvement program, name change. Thank you, Karen, for that. We've reached out, want to say anything? We've reached out to East Ham and, to Barnstable. Last time we spoke about this, we wanted to talk a little bit more, do some more work on marketing the program, the budget and location of it. Where is this going to happen? Focus specifically on a couple of things. One is, where we would like to have this. And as I said the last time, Route 28 probably is the best location, the spine of 28, but picking out sections within that. So we're still looking at that, coming up with some language that would result in getting some applications. The new thing that Eastham did is they opened it up to all the businesses. They didn't have a specific location.
It's because they have one main thoroughfare.
Yeah, and well, they opened it up to all, they just, they
Yeah.
take a spot. That's what I meant by that. Whereas
Barnstable
I don't think,
did the same.
yeah, and Barnstable did the same thing. Barnstable, yeah, been in a Main Street, pretty much did bid. So I don't know if we want to do it the whole way. The other thing is, if we open it up to all of 28, it can go one of two ways. You might not get anybody where the work is occurring with the sewer work, so we got to consider that. On the other hand, it might be a nice thing, a gesture for us to reach out to some of the businesses that were impacted and impeded at all with the work that was going on, to say, hey, we might be able to help you out here with doing something for your facility, your business. So I'm still looking at that. Budget, I think it's Eastham looked at $125,000 more for Barnstable, but the money, interestingly enough, for Eastham came from the ARP program. AARP program.
ARPA.
Yeah, ARPA.
I was gonna say that's where they got their money.
Yeah,
They, for a portion of it, I want to say almost 100,000 of it, and
Yeah.
I think the balance came out of their cash.
yeah.
So is it all gone?
They had,
I think they're in the
Is it
middle of it.
sustainable?
yeah, they pretty much, I think
I think
they
they're.
had 12 applications initially. They could only fund up to 4.
Hmm.
So,
What are some properties that they,
I don't.
He
know.
didn't,
Except,
Peter,
you know?
Yeah.
Paul didn't give us
Yeah.
specifics. I mean,
yeah,
we just had a preliminary email
Yeah.
conversation in with their chambers. But I definitely want to go a little further.
Yeah.
With it. And you can't compare for what I think you guys were budgeting, when you have that. That's a substantial amount of money to put up there.
And the other thing they talked about was just kind of focusing on aesthetics and not so much getting into code violations, because then you're getting into all kinds of other regulations. So
just a
keep it kind of simple and make some hits. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're coming together. It's coming along. We'll have some more information at the next meeting. So I wanted to leave some more time for the work that Joe's been doing, Joe Manning, on the Packet Landing grant application. So the floor is all yours, Pirate Joe.
Thanks, Steve. Is that your foot?
Yes.
Alright. To give the committee an update. I most recently spent time with the Assistant Town Administrator, and we applied for the collaborative work program. The one stop with Mass Development in the amount of $25,000. I think you have a copy of it in your packet. It's a lot of words. It's a lot of hoops. It's a long application. This program doesn't necessarily fit the Cape or our town specifically. The Colo Workspace program is more for established brick and mortars, facilities that you recognize, like a WeWorks or even a Cape Space, where you've got a building and entrepreneurs and remote workers can come there and work and collaborate with one another. But as we've seen before, we've got to find ways to approach the state in creative means to help them see our town as something that needs to be valued, but also needs to be looked at from a different perspective. So what we have is outdoor space. What we attract is outdoor visitors. So this project is meant to sort of get the state to think about us in a different fashion, because we do have a seasonal population. We do have a lot of remote workers. We do have a lot of visitors that come here. So we spent a lot of time talking about this Packet Landing, and obviously you guys have heard me talk about it before. We have a lot of support. The town administrator who came to talk with us, and actually Courtney and I met with him as well separately. He was very supportive. He is largely behind the connectivity piece of this project, more than anything else, because it future proofs Yarmouth. The more connected we are, the more ability we have to respond to what's coming. Not that any of us have a crystal ball, but connectivity is going to be a huge piece of any economic development and any sustainability for any town going forward. So the project itself has a lot of other support that has been garnered through some outreach. The schools are behind it because during the shoulder seasons, the space will be available to them to use as an outdoor classroom. The IT department's behind it because, as I said, they're committed to connectivity. So we've had some recent success with the IT department going after the municipal fiber grant. This is kind of an offshoot of that. The more we build fiber into the community, the more benefits it's going to have down the road. The Bill Benetti in the Department of Natural Resources that we talked about briefly before the meeting started is in the process. Well, they manage the marina at the base of Packet Landing, and they're in the process of, I think that meeting started 13 minutes ago, about fixing the bulkhead at the base of the hill to future-proof that for climate change and ocean sea level rise, et cetera. They're also doing a project with the Mass Oyster, the Massachusetts Oyster Project. So there's going to be an upweller at the marina. It's going to grow spawn, turn it into oysters, put it in the river, let the oysters suck all the nitrogen that they can out of the water, and then take the shells out. And they're also going to be collecting shells from other restaurants as well. Eventually to end up back in the river to create some oyster reefs so that we can repropagate that species into the ocean and in the river to hopefully mitigate some of the nitrogen impact. It also is a perfect opportunity for the kids to come and learn about the place that they live near, that a lot of them may not have experience. Thinking about the 7th graders that haven't even thought about the fact that they might be able to pursue a career in some sort of ocean facing capacity, that now are spending some time down there. So there's definitely in this narrative that we sent into the state, it's more of an offshoot of, we spent a lot of money on Packet and then COVID hit, and now this is just an extension of what we were planning on doing anyway. And the workforce development piece is definitely a part of the narrative that we've submitted. So that's sort of the high level view of the project. The nuts and bolts is what you've heard from me before, which is a solar powered charging station, a shade sail, a reconfiguration of some of the benches, more to be more proximal and to be more configured like an amphitheater at the base of that hill, so that you're closer to the water, you're in a more captive environment. And you can, people can have corporate business, people could have meetings there potentially. But I imagine that the connectivity piece of it, which is also part of this, which is the fiber backbone that's going to be put in and end up configured into a wireless configuration. It's going to be a free Wi-Fi, but it's not going to be, it's gonna have some limitations on it so that, the neighborhood doesn't really start using the town's Wi-Fi, et cetera. But there's probably going to be some benefit to the commercial fishermen. I know they have a lot of reporting that they have to do in terms of what they bring in and what they do to conduct their business in terms of the half-day fishing trips, et cetera, that now they're going to be able to use that connectivity piece as well to help their businesses down there. All in all, I think there's a lot of good support. I know that haven't even been approached yet, but I'm sure the Family Table Collaborative, I'm sure the Cultural Center, I'm sure the Friends of Bass River, I'm sure all these other, nonprofits will be interested in utilizing the space more. Once there's a little bit more of an inviting environment there. It's a beautiful spot. I just think it needs a little tweaking. Nothing that I'm proposing doing with this project would be permanent in any way, except for, like I said, moving some of the benches requires taking out a couple of pads and putting in a couple of pads. The solar powered charging station would need a pad as well. And Bill Scott was pretty helpful in terms of identifying the need for some engineering potentially and some community outreach potentially. So the overall price tag on the project comes in at $51,635. So given that we've applied for a $25,000 grant, leaves us with net $26,635 as a committee. What I would like to suggest is that we fund up to the total amount, because we don't have a crystal ball and we don't know what the state's gonna do in terms of our grant application. But it would give us the ability to go forward with the project. It would also give us an ability to present it to the select board in a more complete fashion. Prior to that award being decided upon. So I guess that's where I'm at. Any questions?
Joe?
Any other grants that are worth looking at? I mean, like Seaport grant might be one that's good for this, that would, especially with the blue economy and stuff like that, might be right up the road for that, especially for small. I mean, they're $1 million, they'll do $1 million per project, so.
Joe Gibbs volunteered to write the Seaport.
I'd be happy to help with that. I've actually got several under my belt, but,
It'd be great.
but you know, we need to look and see what else. I know they are doing the packet resiliency thing, so there may be. That's probably further down the road, so you could probably still apply for that for this, but I think the next deadline's July or August, I think.
Yeah, we can definitely.
For fall time, so that, yeah, they just did it. Yeah, May 1st, I think was the last deadline, so I think it's like maybe August or so, will be August or September might be the next deadline.
Yeah, send me a link.
But I think they're all about.
Because it's basically written right now, because I mean, the blue and green economy is the narrative that appears in this
Right, so,
constantly, because it's the melding of the kids and the businesses and the department heads and the workforce.
yeah, education's big for them.
Yeah, it's-
Economy's big for them. They'd given the commission $1 million for all those kiosks that you see all over the place for the blue economy, so. So that's just potentially another funding source, depending on what we want to do, or even if there's a little bit more. I mean, maybe even look at like Isinglass or something for the pavilion to make it a little more 3-season, or, maybe we want to even make it a little bit
Well,
more.
in my conversations, it's funny you mention that, in my conversations, changes to the physical structure were not received well. And I don't know that will be a non-starter going forward, but I can just tell you, because that was my idea too, was that 3-season it somehow, so that, you don't have the wind whipping through your hair when you're on your laptop or whatever you're doing there, but
Oh, it was for music, entertainment type of things too. That's what you were thinking about.
yeah, and I mean, I think that, I pivoted to the shade sail, right? Because it provides, you know that when you're sitting in a really sunny spot trying to work, it's kind of prohibitive, unless you have some shade to sit under. Plus, we don't want the kiddies getting sunburned either.
But that's, I mean, I'm all for trying to move forward with this project, but I'm thinking there may be some other options to go for funding. I think Seaport, it's either 20 or 25% match. I can't. The town has to come up with, I think they'll fund 75%. I think it is. 75 or 80% is what the match is for that. So, so that may be an option even if we want to do a little bit more, but as a plan B. But I mean, I'm all for moving forward. I think this is great. I'd be all for making a motion to support,
The
do
funding.
you want to support the
Up to.
$51,000?
Yeah, just up to, I think, is the best way to go about it, because then if we get the money, we don't have to spend it. But if we know we have it, if we don't.
So it's 51 change. So if we say.
51,635.
So make a motion to expend up to $52,000 from public improvement. Line item bucket, whatever,
Well,
Physical improvements. bro.
physical improvement.
yeah, or I mean, there's economic development bucket too. I didn't know if we wanted to split it.
Yeah, we might want to split that. Okay, so we have a motion. We're gonna hold that because I wanted to ask Courtney before
No, let me go a second.
we're good. We have a second on that. Really wrestling match with this whole thing. I 120% support it. I just don't want us to jeopardize the grant. In other words, if the grant entity sees what we're doing, are they likely to say no to their piece of it? On the other hand, if they say no, we get the money to do it ourselves. So I
I don't
guess,
know.
I guess I,
I mean, I heard you say that.
yeah.
I get it. Karen, what do you think? Do you think that the
I
state's
think
gonna be
you're
paying
fine.
close
I
enough
mean-
attention that they're gonna say, well, you voted to,
Well, the turnaround time is 8 to 12 weeks. What are you gonna do on the project between
not.
now and 8 to 12 weeks?
Nothing.
So I'd suggest you just vote what you need. And then revisit it if you don't get the match. If you don't get the grant, then the committee can consider whether you wanna fund the entire project.
So you're saying make
So-
a motion for the
but this one,
26 and
yeah.
change?
Yeah,
Just hold that, we say up to is the funding source. They would still say, okay, they're not committing 100% yet.
I don't honestly know to what extent they're going snooping around to look and
Right,
see
right, right,
what's been voted.
right. That's a good point.
Um,
It's a small
but-
community.
But if you're not doing anything, you know, I mean,
Well, the only
it's
thing,
up to you.
the only motivation behind the motion to fund the whole thing was that now we can go to the select board and we can say that we've got a completed project, we're looking for your support and move towards site review and we go through DPW and we got, we're headed towards a shovel-ready project. right?
And we can say to them,
Not that we're not, we can't say, not, that we don't have to say this like, that we're waiting.
Yeah.
Can't do it because we're waiting on something else.
They are expecting us to come before them
Yeah, they are.
sooner than later.
okay,
I previewed this at the last meeting and it was with the caveat that we will be coming before them to discuss the entire project.
okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor for up to the entire amount, 57,635. We have a second on that,
His motion was 52.
52,
I like the round number.
52, okay, up to 52,000.
Seconded, right?
We have a second with Courtney. We have all those in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Okay, and I voted aye too.
Okay, and so we can fix the motion, but do you want it? So I've got the budget up on the screen. I'm gonna get it bigger for you.
I think just where it comes from is what we.
Oh, yeah.
address.
Oh,
Right, so you have,
Thanks.
thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Have a good night.
thanks, Mary.
Thank
Um,
So you have in economic development, and I know. What's left? Hold on, sorry. I want the gray column. So this is your FY 24 balance in economic development projects. Did not mean to hit that.
She's getting killed, by the way, Caitlin
Oh,
Clark.
she's getting.
Everyone's blasting
The
her.
poor thing.
Yep,
147, you've allocated 46, 140,
for,
and that'll, for economic development, and that'll come in on July 1. So starting July 1,
we have one.
you'll have 193. Going down, you have 358 in the public improvements, which,
Still suggest considering splitting it amongst the two buckets, just because there's
Yeah.
a significant component that has to do with,
Physical improvements.
yeah, and you know,
Okay.
the schools and creating an outdoor classroom is workforce development. I guess that generally could be considered economic development, but we're more creating a physical space that they can utilize primarily.
You need a adjustment on that motion then?
no, but I
Do you agree?
just, no, not
Okay.
really. I would just take it out of public improvements.
Okay.
That's, seems simple, it's
Just be
just simple.
It seems to be kind of what the project is. It's not a study, it's not a analysis, it's not a report.
There's plenty of funding in that bucket.
If you, I mean, I don't think it makes a difference. The only difference it's going to make from a practical point of view is when we pay the bills, we have to decide
Mhm.
what's gonna come out of one account and
bucket.
what's gonna come out of another account,
One
because
bucket.
it's two accounts.
Right, then if one goes over and
Yeah.
I think just for processing, I think just
Right, I think it's.
Okay.
one line is-
your next project can be.
Complicated. I agree.
All right,
Don't
So,
disagree.
do you wanna, Joe Gibbs, would you like to amend your motion?
Yeah, I'll amend it.
to reflect That it's coming out of public improvement.
So.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then Courtney, I think, re-seconded it.
Second.
And you got-
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so voted.
Right.
All right,
And I would like to say that everyone's been really great. This committee, staff, the town, all the departments. Been a lot of work to pull it off in the short time that we had, but it was, I think it's gonna show us a way that we can start to look at some of our bigger open spaces from a new perspective, hopefully.
good work. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, we have committee member items. Courtney?
Yeah, so the Barnstable County CEDC is meeting tomorrow. Their public comment period closed for the draft, economic development strategy. I did submit comments on my own. I'll just briefly like recap those. I submitted them as a personal member of the public. I will say they're not getting a ton of feedback. It was me and 2 other people on the public info session I went on to, and when I talked to a staff member there, they said they've had like at most 3 people, so hopefully they'll get more feedback from people, but their draft goals concluded housing attainability and community, and I made it a point in my comments to talk about DEI and the addition of the 2 new letters in the acronym of justice and belonging, because I think we're like a really vibrant community and they need to focus on DEI and how they're going to work with all different communities that we have here. And it's something I think the commission could do better at anyways, reaching all the different communities that we have. Workforce development, it's been mentioned, more focus on year-round workforce as well as seasonal. And then I also talked about developing pipeline for workforce through the Massachusetts Careers Workforce Center, as well as Cape Cod Tech, Upper Tech, the community college, and other regional school districts. And then just thank them for doing the work. So I guess we'll get more of a in-depth plan coming up, but they haven't really been doing much work on that except for that draft, so.
Okay, thanks, Courtney.
Mhm.
Joe? Annie?
The only thing I would say tomorrow is also Yarmouth CPC's annual meeting. If anyone's interested, it's at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. They're gonna be talking about their goals for what they're gonna be looking to fund.
Okay. Joe?
I had a question to see if Karen could find some information out. And is it possible to find out what, as of July 1st, the detail rates are gonna be for the police and what the minimum is? I had heard the minimum is going from 4 hours to 8 hours.
Oh, I
So-
haven't heard that.
What was it for?
And again, I don't know that this is true or not for police details, but a lot of these things that we fund are in these 4-hour blocks. So now if you're doing a
Well,
parade, a
double.
whole bunch of things that are 4-hour blocks could be potentially double.
There
So,
goes the money.
so just as we go into the thing in the
Yeah.
fall, and again, I don't know that this is, I know I believe the detail rates for the police is going from 65 to 75 an hour. July 1st. So that's gonna be an increase, but it was more if that 4-hour to 8-hour. And again,
I had only heard about the change in the,
yeah, somebody's trying to tell me that maybe it's just associated with the sewer, everything was 8 hour, like, but maybe that's just, it may be taken out of context, so that's why I was
I
trying to,
can reach out to both chiefs and just say, are there changes for the fiscal year?
so just that way, because yeah, if it is double, that's gonna be, for some of these events, that could be a potential issue as, for Seaside, probably for Codfest, St. Patrick's, I don't know if
Parade,
we'll have
yeah.
anything to do with that at this next round or not, but just so we have better information on.
Yeah, we'd probably want to get that out preemptively to the applicants too.
If that's it, yeah.
Not
Yeah,
that
if
they
it's-
won't know about it, I'm guessing, but they may not.
Yeah, David.
So that was, other than that, I'm all good. Happy summer.
I did go to the Pirate Festival on Sunday. I went in the morning. It was a pretty steady flow of people. I don't know how it was last weekend when the weather was better, but I think come Sunday, like most 2-weekend festivals, when you're getting a call for rain at 2 o'clock and you have 3.5 hours to go, I think people kind of just want to get the hell out of there. So it was good. It was an interesting event. And I hope it's something he can sustain, but I do know that he had some hurdles along the way. I know Chris had to put out posts for people who were supposed to come set up for the weekend that bailed out. He was looking for help with that. He was looking for additional performers. So I think it's something he might have to take a hard look at and see. But
Steel pack.
he had partners with the Cape Cod Maritime Museum, the Bluebird by Lark Hotel, which is actually located in Dennis, and then another one. So,
That's great.
you know, at least he had some bigger name sponsors that we recognize.
Good, thanks, Courtney.
Mhm.
I just want to keep this Grayfield thing on the agenda as
Yeah.
we go forward, because I think there's a lot there if we can coordinate other departments here,
Mhm.
get something put together on this thing. And maybe.
Wish it was a
do
little
grants.
more
Well, I
money.
think the question is
Well,
like, what can you guys do
Right.
to drum up business? And I
Right.
think Mary getting the post and pushing it out, that's good, but maybe you do another direct mail, or we find that list of properties.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting.
Yeah, I'm happy to look for it. I don't think there were that many on
But
there.
that's okay. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a good starting point.
Yeah.
'Cause you can
Yeah.
see right off.
And then I
All you need
think,
is one or
I
two.
think really it's, I mean, maybe you knock on doors.
Right.
And if the committee's willing to kind of put feet on street and go
Yeah.
out, then I think that's nice.
Maybe for the
We
next
need all
meeting.
Peter's wisdom.
Hmm?
We need all Peter's wisdom.
Right, Peter would be a good,
Yeah.
Peter
Maybe,
said he was gonna knock on the doors, right?
the
Peter
Grayfield
Slovak.
program?
Yeah.
He wasn't here.
Oh,
anyways,
What was he getting for the facade?
to
program?
get that,
Yep, I'll look
that
for
list-
the list.
the last thing is the wayfinding.
Yep, so we have a request into the state and it's gone through kind of half the review. The finance department needs to sign off on it, but it's looking good. So,
To keep retaining the money from the
Yeah.
state. Okay,
so cross your fingers, cross your toes, and
all right, so
once we know about that, we'll move forward.
did we miss?
I think we're gonna have to rebid. It's okay. We'll rebid and we'll reach out direct to the people who had good responses. And what I'd say we do is, I like a small selection committee and maybe one representative from this committee be, on the selection committee going forward.
so this is the RFP you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have an RFP that Kyle had drafted. It was good. So we just look at that again and reissue it, and we do direct outreach to the folks who originally did respond to get them. Especially the old responses that were good. But we haven't opened up any prices. We can't do that. Do you follow?
Yeah, I'm just, this is not at you, it just amazes me that we're just finding out now that the grant sat around for so long, we just contacted the state when? But last month, a couple weeks ago, not you, but whoever did it,
No, I did it.
and you know, what's been going on since that time, I guess, prior to that time, I guess, is what I wanted to know, but. I mean, I'm of a point now, if we lose the money, that $50,000, I'd like to reprogram it someplace else,
Sure.
you know,
That would make sense.
so. But I don't want to do that. I want to keep it there if we're going to use, it. So,
It's a good program.
but I'm happy to hear that someone from this community would be part of the process to review the RFP. and send it out again. That's good. That's
I
a,
think I've heard that message.
I clearly did not hear that message. Not from you.
No, well, I hear the message because I'm here at the committee.
Oh, yeah,
meetings.
what I'm saying.
And it'll be my RFP.
Yeah.
So,
Did the 6A thing happen yet with the planning board?
which 6A
The
thing?
6A
Reconfiguration.
reconfiguration?
No,
When
not
is-
with the planning
Or
board.
whatever that public thing is, the focus group, or whatever it is.
Yes,
The meeting happened.
How'd it
Yeah.
go?
It was pretty good. There was still not a whole lot of consensus. I don't know, were you there or
My
your
brother was
brother
there.
was there maybe?
Can you tell me how it went? Like what there, if you had any.
I think
updates?
that Kathy's gone back to the drawing board to kind of call out the few pieces that
Yeah.
seem to have consensus.
Okay,
It's the toughest
yeah,
project ever to gauge consensus. If there's consensus, it's that there's no consensus.
yeah.
Um,
I guess I just want to make a plug that like, I don't want us to forget that
I
that's
think
part of
it's
the
a
town
great
too.
point.
Because.
No, good point. Yeah, you're right.
We focus so much down here, but
You're
there's a
right.
lot of opportunity
No,
up there.
it's a
You're right.
super point.
Wait, if the people want it up there, that's the only thing.
But-
You went to the
But
sidewalk.
if
meeting
we're,
there
if
and-
they're getting more, if they hear that we're involved or we want to be
Right.
involved and it's not just the you one-time stop for the Christmas stroll.
Yep.
Then like, yeah, then they're gonna, maybe that's part of the reason is that they don't feel like, they do feel like, fine, we'll just stay up on the north side and be our own little
Mhm,
fiefdom.
mhm.
Because nobody else, all they care about is 28 down there in the sewers. So, yeah, I'd like to
Mhm.
focus more, like just a reminder that like that's an
Mhm.
area of town. Because
And I'll bring
as-
information next time,
Yeah.
because I know Courtney's dialed in on, just because we talked about the Route 6A thing with all of the notify me, or whatever it's called now.
Constant
Oh.
contact, yeah.
It's kind of like the town's version of Constant Contact, but you can sign up for every agenda if you want to know what's going
And
on.
just general news.
And then you just get it in your email, or you
Right.
get the news alerts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say the
You
town's
get
good
the
about,
bids that go out.
yeah, the town
There's-
is good about the general news stuff,
Yeah.
like all the focus groups and the meetings that they're doing,
Mhm.
like, they're good about putting those on there.
Yeah.
Um.
Yep.
Yeah,
But that's the best way to find out about all these different meetings that might be going on. It's the direct route from
yeah,
the website to a bazillion people rather than kind of relying on lots of steps in between.
yeah. All right,
I mean, one thing on 6A is the common, I call it the common. And I did drive by there in a inclement weather, and I
Mhm.
thought the problem was straightened out, but still flooded down that corner, so.
That's not even part of what they're proposing.
Maybe it's a project, that we can pick that people can rally around.
I had one thing.
yeah.
Before oh shoot, I thought I had it open. Hold on a second. So there's a couple of appointments that
Yes,
bump up. I just took a look. I see. So Steve, you're on till 2026. Courtney, you're on till 2026. Joe Gibbs and Joe
Joe.
Manning. Your appointments run out at the end of July. Do you want to be reappointed?
I need to give that some thought.
Okay,
I appreciate your honesty.
We'd
yeah.
love to have you.
I do need to give,
You and I gotta work on that special event program.
Yes.
Gonna ask about it.
If and
Found
before
that
you
out.
go.
Courtney's gonna run after you.
No, I was actually trying to look through my old emails to try to figure out when I knew it was coming up sometime this year, but
That's what I have. So, I mean, what I'd ask Steve is like, keep it on the agenda maybe next month.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the selectmen schedule for June, but, well, no, for June is fine. Your term runs out July 31. So the next CEDC meeting would be scheduled for June 9. It's the holiday weekend, so.
So
wanna
June
make
9?
sure that-
July 9,
July 9. Do I keep saying June?
we're in June, it's okay.
Is it October yet?
I wish.
So July 9 is the second Tuesday. That would be your next meeting. And the appointments run out, so I'd guess that there's a selectmen's meeting between June 9 and the end, because we just need to let the front office know, and they'll work with the appointments chair to do the appointments. Joe, are you in, or?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I will hold off and do one now,
all
for
right.
both appointments when
I can
you're
get, I can get to you before.
yeah.
before.
And then you do have, I did email the front office, you are still down a body. So I asked if there's any talent bank forms on.
To pick up the name spot.
It was Maria
Maria.
with the vacancy, yeah. But yeah, and then I'll ask the same of Peter. Peter is the planning board representative,
Right.
and they generally,
You all right for Peter?
they don't reconfigure the planning board. They have a standing date in September that they do their reorganization, but
Okay.
he still needs to be reappointed.
And we should probably talk at a future meeting too about branding, do an update to the brand. Now that they've got the process going forward with the planning, the big plan that they're
Mhm.
doing. So I don't know, we want to make that part of the RFP? Or think about it. We don't need to discuss it right
Yeah,
now.
I mean, that branding stuff 1,000 years ago was not cheap.
No, I know.
That was not cheap.
No,
And the chamber actually kind of anteed up.
yeah,
I think we split the price.
but with all this other stuff going on and maybe time
I
to,
think it's a great idea.
It's overdue.
Then we redo the signs.
And we've got a
With our
new
wayfinder.
seal and
we ever get it done.
Hmm?
got a new seal and wayfinder.
Right.
It's a good
Yeah.
platform.
Have they, on a side note, have they gotten anywhere on that economic development whatever that position was gonna be and what its
No.
role was gonna be?
No,
Well, Karen.
I don't know how many candidates have
Well,
applied.
and anybody who applied 2 months ago and it was has probably gotten another job right now, or said, forget that. It's not posted on the Mass Municipal website. It's not posted on Cape Cod Young Professionals. It's at the bottom of the list on the town website. It's not,
Not a priority.
it's I mean, yeah, I mean, they have a lot of open positions right now that are just not being presented the way they
I
could be.
mentioned to Bill that it maybe should, and I think that it may have been on the MMA.
It was,
Some time
they
ago,
time
and I
out,
don't know if
yeah.
the same was true for the CCYP.
MMA times out after 30 days, but you get that notice ahead of time and you
Okay.
can re-up it.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't seen it on CCYP in a bit. So we'll see. But that's a key role for this town.
I'll ask.
I'm just
But
curious.
it's not, you understand that it's not
No,
a
Left it in the
position
middle,
that's
so I
under
thought it
my
was community
department.
balloon.
No, and I still don't even know if it'll even affect our committee or not.
I'm just gonna pop it in 2 seconds.
I'm just curious as to
Gave it to my grandson.
more than anything.
Thank. That's
Yeah,
nice.
give this one to your grandson too.
He just has.
How'd you get two?
I just take.
Oh,
all this-
Danielle has
all
two
the
kids.
swag.
Yeah. see-
Let's give it to Danielle.
Those will-
Sorry.
that'll
She's got a
kill-
baby, but.
Those will kill the turtles or something.
Good point.
Go ahead.
So-
You want something else?
That's
No,
Motion to adjourn?
second,
All those in favor?
hi.
Also voted. Thank you, Goal. Joe?
Do you have your calendar?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
We still want you here, so hopefully you can keep it going.
We need you.
No, it's, I mean.
But we also know that you've
I mean, you
got,
got a lot of stuff on your
Offline.
plate.
I mean, it's,